part 2 of chapter number 1, we have discussed about the Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar in detail, right? So, after winning those two battles, Britishers laid their foundation of their empire in our country. So, after becoming a ruler, what policies they have which policies they have applied in India and make their empire, they expanded their rule in our country. So, we will discuss about the subsidiary alliance system in this system, and also the Dalhousie's one main policy, doctrine of lapse. Okay, so let's start subsidiary alliance system. In subsidiary alliance system, see, first of all, after winning the Battle of Buxar, now the Bengal governor will be appointed as the Governor General, and all the political, economical activities of the East India Company will directly under cover of him, and also the Governor of Bombay and the Governor of Madras also will work under him only. Okay, so first Warren Hastings was appointed as the first Governor General of India, and when he was in power, he has to wage two war with Maratha Samrajya as well as the Mysore's Nizam. Okay, so during his tenure he could not do well because of these two battles, because he has to fight simultaneously at a time with the two different enemies. So he could not do that much of well in his career. But after him, Wellesley, the one Governor General, was appointed of India. He was a very, he was very imperialist. Imperialist, that means the person who is having the nature, who is having a view, far sight view to expand their kingdom or expand their rule in our country. Okay, so Wellesley has applied subsidiary alliance system. Now, what was according to this system? If any king or Nizam or Nawab accept the subsidiary alliance system, so British East India Company will provide them a trained army with army or weapon. Okay, but all the expense of the army will be borne by the king or Nawab only. That means British East India Company will not pay any single penny for the maintenance of the army. But here the Nawab impressed. Why? Because they will get the trained, disciplined and armed army from the Britishers. Okay, so many of the Nizam or Nawab attracted towards this policy, and other rules and regulations were there, like first of all, one British East India Company's officer will be appointed as a minister in the court of king. Second, that the king or Nawab are not allowed to wage war with anyone. Third, they cannot sign the treaty with anyone. And fourth, they will not allow any of the foreigners to start business in their country or in their territory or their kingdom. Okay, so this was the subsidiary alliance system. This was considered as a sweet poison. Why? Because see, as per this policy, all the administration, all the functions of the entire state will be done by the Britishers. So now king is not aware about the situation of the ground level. So we can say that by these gradually Britishers were setting their hand, they were keeping tight, they were doing their grip tight on the administration of the state. Okay, so this was the subsidiary alliance system, and many of the kings adopted this, like Scindia, Bhosle, Holkar, then Nizam. Okay, then so this kind of policy was there, the subsidiary alliance system. Now we will discuss about the first of all, let me talk about the Tipu Sultan. We are forgetting Tipu Sultan here. See, Tipu Sultan was known as a tiger of Mysore. When Wellesley forced him to accept this treaty, but Tipu Sultan refused to sign this treaty, and for the sake he has to wage a war with the Britishers in 4th Mysore War. During this war, the Tipu Sultan fought bravely, but he lost his life. Why? Because Britishers took help from the Marathas as well as the Nizam of Hyderabad to defeat Tipu Sultan. So in 1799, in 4th Mysore War, Tipu Sultan lost his life. Now we will discuss about the Dalhousie and See, after Wellesley, William Bentinck was appointed as the Governor General of India, but he was very liberal in his deed. So after him, Dalhousie was appointed as the Governor General of India, and Dalhousie was a fierce imperialist Governor General. Why? Because due to his such kind of policy, he wanted to expand the British Empire as much as he can. So he has applied doctrine of lapse policy. According to this policy, if any kings died without a heir, that means if king is not having the real son, then after the death of king, that kingdom will be merged with the British Empire. Also, adopted sons were not allowed to become a king after the death of king. That means British East India will not consider a king. That means who are adopted son, who are adopted by the king. Okay, so many of the kings, what can we say? They refused to, they rebelled, they opposed Dalhousie by this policy. But he was very firm, and he has doctrined many of the places like Udaipur, then Jaipur, then Jhansi, okay, Madhya Pradesh, he pushed some parts of Madhya Pradesh. Also, on the pretext of mismanagement, he had merged Ajmer as well as the other territories. So many of the, see, in this following PDF, in following the picture, you can see that many of the kingdoms were what can we say, doctrined by the Dalhousie on the different pretext. Okay, see, let's move on. But we cannot see that Dalhousie was a not so very good Governor General, because he had a very good, he had implemented such a new policy which was a very reformist. So that's why Dalhousie was also known as the reformist. Why? Because he had changed many of the policies in our country. He has started many of the new systems in our country, like we can say he has started the first railway line in India between Mumbai and Thane in 1853. Then also he had started the steamer service between India and England. Also he had started the wireless system between India and England. Also he had established the public welfare department in our country. So in this way we can say that the Dalhousie's tenure was a 50-50, like good for country as well as the bad for country. Good for the reforms and bad for doctrine of lapse. Okay. So now we will discuss about the social and economic impact of the British rule on our country. So first of all, let's talk about the mixed impact. First of all, as we are talking about the economical activity, economical impact. So as we know that earlier India was known as Soni Pichidia, and many of the country foreigners attracted towards the country to start a business over there just because of the prosperity glitter of country, right? But when they established their rule, when they started their business over here, they ruined us, they looted us as much as they can. Okay, so now after the 100 years of British rule, the prosperity of India was faded. Okay, let's take an example of Bengal. See, Bengal was earlier very good, big state of the country, and Bengal was exported silk, muslin, cotton clothes, etc., and spices as well. So after the Dvimukhi Shasan Paddhati, that means dual power policy, the glitter of Bengal has been faded. Why? See, what was the subsidiary alliance? What was the dual power policy? Here, the tax will be collected by the Britishers, and the take care of the people were taken by the king or Nawab. That means the Britishers are having power without any responsibility, and Nawab is having responsibility without any kind of power. So as we are talking about the economic policy, so most of we can say that now that India is India is just a country who is producing raw material for the Britishers. Also, we are providing them a good market for selling their goods, right? So we are now dancing on their rhythm only, on their beat. Okay. See, during that time, British East India Company made one rule, and also they were demanding to the Bengal keepers that they have to sign one contract, and as mentioned, the quantity and time in the contract they have to do, they have to provide that definite amount of cloth in a definite time. If any weavers refused to sign that contract, that weavers being lashed or jailed. That means उसको कोड़े मारने की सजा दी जाती थी या तो फिर उसको जेल में डाल दिया जाता था. Okay, and also we can say that during the time that many of the economical changes were there, like starting of the steamer services between India and England, then starting of the railway line between Mumbai and Thane in 1853 during the Dalhousie period, and development of wireless system, and also we can say that the establishment of public welfare department. So these were the mixed development and the mixed impact of British rule on our country. And during the time that Mumbai, Madras and Kolkata were developed port that developed by the Britishers, which were there Mumbai, Madras and Kolkata. Okay, so these were the economic impact of British rule on our country. Now we will discuss about the social impact. So as we know, see, during that time many of the social evil practices were there in our society. So Britishers as well as the some stalwarts means social workers like Rajaram Mohan Roy, Durgaram Mehta, Dairam Ji Malbari, they made an effort to against the social evils like child infanticide, sati pratha, child marriages. So Britishers made a law against this kind of evil practices and made them offensive crime. So this was very good for our country, very good for our society. And also they have started to provide education in English. Now because the whole administration work of India has been anglicized, the demand for people who is having the knowledge of English has been increased. So during that time, on the recommendation of the Charles Wood, 3 universities established at these 3 cities only, Mumbai, Madras and Kolkata. So this was the social impact of British rule on our country. Okay, so today, see, this is the last topic of the chapter. So here your chapter has been ended. So today we have discussed about subsidiary alliance system, then also doctrine of lapse, then social impact and economic impact of British rule on our country. I hope you understood well what we have discussed today. And if you have any kind of doubt, you can ask me in the live session. Okay? So see you soon in the next lecture. Till then, have a good day. Take care. Bye everyone.